Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land, where we take a look at those top stories making headlines every Monday to Thursday. And I just want to say thank you to so many of you for your wonderful get well wishes and for some of your solutions, how I can get rid of this horrific flu that I seem to have. It is all sitting in my sinuses, making me feel like I have a hot poker in my sinus passages. Not pleasant, but what makes this all endurable is the fact that I have such a wonderful and supportive community in you guys, the Israel Brief community. So let's take a look at those top stories. We are on day 96 of Israel's war against Hamas, and we continue in Khan Yunis, where the IDF has been operating with quite a bit of intensity, uncovering more and more tunnels, more and more tunnel shafts, as well as more weapons, facilities, and engaging in quite intense combat with Hamas terrorists and other entities in the Gaza Strip. The IDF have shown, not just told us, but also shown the evidence, finding 15 tunnel shafts, quite a significant amount of explosions reported. They also uncovered and put an end to rocket launchers as well as weapons manufacturing sites. The IDF have also demonstrated how Hamas is using their most vulnerable in their civilian population, this time children, as human shields. Yesterday they uncovered weapons such as a loaded rifle next to the bed of a child and have uncovered tunnel shafts close to schools. As we have been saying throughout this war, what lies beneath the Gaza Strip is a very, very complicated and sophisticated tunnel maze, a tunnel city, a veritable metro complete with rails and stairs and elevator shafts and air conditioning and tiled kitchens. Some of the accommodations in these tunnels are a lot better than other people's accommodations in places around the world. Egyptian officials are reporting that they are in touch with members of Palestinian Islamic Jihad and Hamas for a possible hostage deal. We will report further on that as soon as we know more. Now, one thing this war has done is illuminated so much. As I spoke at the very beginning of the war, it has illuminated and brought out all the napping anti-Semites, brought them out into reality. And it has also revealed the International Red Cross and how feckless they have been. But probably the biggest illumination of all, especially to many around the world, has been the role of the United Nations, and in specific UNRWA, the United Nations Relief Works Agency, tasked with looking after Palestinian refugees. Now, these aren't refugees as you would imagine refugees from Afghanistan or Sudan. These are generational refugees. They are still considered refugees some 75 years later. Well, thanks to UN watchdog UN Watch and the exceptional work that they have done, they have exposed in quite a lot of detail how UNRWA teachers, these are teachers responsible for the education of Palestinian children in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank, used an internal Telegram channel to celebrate the October the 7th atrocities. There is evidence of at least one UNRWA teacher sharing a suicide vest with explosives saying, "For you, the sons of Judaism." The teachers celebrated cheering on Hamas terrorists as they brutally murdered, raped, mutilated, tortured, burnt alive, and kidnapped innocent civilians on the 7th of October. Another UNRWA teacher has been found to have encouraged civilians in Gaza not to heed evacuation orders from the IDF. The IDF have said, and especially now when we're on the eve of a horrific court case at the International Court of Justice, a case brought on by South Africa, more about that in a few moments, but Israel has really endeavored to try and prevent as many civilian casualties as possible by encouraging civilians to evacuate the combat areas. And UNRWA teachers are saying you need to stay in these areas and be used as human shields. There is absolutely no regard for the sanctity of life inside the Gaza Strip, and Israel is not responsible for that. Hamas and their supporters who want to use their civilian population as human shields, therefore creating astronomical numbers of casualties and having the world castigate Israel, and countries like South Africa launch sham criminal charges of genocide at the International Court of Justice, is absolutely just, it's unbelievable, but it's Israel's reality. Now, speaking of the International Court of Justice, tomorrow and Friday, proceedings will take place at The Hague in the Netherlands. And yesterday, the South African Department of Justice announced I won't say he's an unlikely addition, but Jeremy Corbyn, who was the former leader of the UK Labour Party, who was expelled from his position for being a rank anti-Semite and for anti-Semitism throughout the ranks of the party, will be joining the South African delegation. Jeremy Corbyn is no stranger to anti-Semitism. He is somebody who has called Hamas and Hezbollah, two Iranian proxies, hell-bent on the destruction of the State of Israel, as his friends. He has laid wreaths at the graves of the Black September terrorists who carried out the Munich massacre at the Olympics in 1972. In short, tell us who your friends are and we'll tell you all about yourself. And when you bring on Jeremy Corbyn as part of your delegation, well, South Africa, that tells us a lot about who you are. I don't know. It looks like all the adults have left the room. Maybe South Africa needs adult supervision. Who knows? But South Africa believe that they are the world's global consciousness, and this is why they are bringing this case against Israel. Probably hasn't got anything to do with a nice fat check that they're likely to have received from Iran. Just saying. And finally, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has met with Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority president, in Ramallah. Speaking to the president of the Palestinian Authority, Blinken said that he supports tangible steps towards a Palestinian state, but calls on the PA to improve their governance, saying the US wants to see a renewed and rejuvenated Palestinian Authority be able to take over the Gaza Strip. What happens on that day after the war ends and Hamas is out, we don't know. There is a lot being discussed, but we would have to see significant changes to the Palestinian Authority before it is acceptable to the State of Israel. Thousands of Palestinians took to the streets to protest Blinken's presence and his meeting with Abbas. And we do know that the Secretary of State will make a surprise visit to Bahrain. And that brings me to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lotl's site at LOTLSITE. Our YouTube channel where you're watching this is at the Israel Brief. Like, share, subscribe, guys. And we're on X at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rolene Marks, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and thank you so much for taking care of me. Bye, guys.